Hi, my name is Jana Peterson, and I chose to do my research project on effects of bullying on self-esteem and self-efficacy. The topics I want to cover today are the relationship between self-esteem and self-efficacy, bullying and the different types, long-term impact on physical, mental, and emotional health, and how we can play a part to stop this behavior. So first off, I want to talk about self-esteem, exactly what is the definition. Self-esteem can be described as a person's evaluation of himself or herself across many different situations, or perhaps the trait of liking or disliking things about themselves. Another way to describe it is the way we see ourselves in regards to competency, how successful we are, and how much we need to rely on others for our success. The factors for self-esteem development, those would include just our childhood life experiences and whether we grew up in a loving and supporting home. Growing up in a home can really affect self-esteem if it's giving you a sense of worthiness that leads to high self-esteem. The opposite of that would be growing up in a home of frustration and rejection, along with other negative experiences that can lead to low self-esteem. If you grew up with parents who were always putting you down or telling you you won't amount to anything, that's going to be very detrimental, as opposed to encouraging and supporting someone. What is self-efficacy? Self-efficacy is the self-belief in our chances of successfully accomplishing a task which produces the best outcome. So the way we can develop our self-efficacy is it comes from multiple experiences in our lives. One of those experiences would be overcoming difficult tasks, which then would build our self-belief in that particular environment. A second would be effort and perseverance in whatever obstacles you want to overcome. The third would be role models and or influential people close to us as a source of self-efficacy. I myself have really learned a good lesson in self-efficacy as I sometimes question my development, and the thing that helped me was actually this third one, a role model that was same as me, same age, same accomplishments in life, but seeing her able to accomplish great things in her career helped me to step up and believe in myself. So an experience like that would be very helpful. So what do these two different personality traits have in common? They are definitely separate and very different, but they come together in our emotional and psychological state, which is the commonality that they share. To further describe that, if we have developed a low self-esteem due to negative life experiences, we will more than likely have a very negative emotional and psychological state due to depression and anxiety. This can dampen our confidence and increase stress and tension, which can then lead to poor performance and affect self-efficacy in a negative way. If we have high self-esteem, this can allow our emotional and psychological state to be very positive. We may have a better understanding of how to deal with depression and anxiety, which will in turn improve our self-efficacy. So I want to now bring in the bullying aspect. To define bullying, one would say it is the act of purposefully harming and or victimizing someone else repeatedly for long periods of time. Low self-esteem and self-efficacy have been linked to bullying and victimization. Unfortunately, bullying usually occurs in school environments, while the development and social influences began to shape behavior and cognition. So what makes a bully? I know it's been a long time belief that, and I have even said it to my kids, bullies just have low self-esteem and they want to bring you down too. But recently, studies have proven that what makes a bully is not due to having low self-esteem. It is actually due to having, being very shame-prone. Bullies usually have a very high self-esteem, in fact, and being shame-prone would mean they experience a real fear of their failures or shortcomings eventually being noticed by others around them, their peers, their family. Shame can bring on emotions of guilt, which lead to negative and intense emotions of feeling inferior. If we categorize bullying into 4 different types, we can see that bullying has many different forms. The first one would be physical bullying, where they actually cause you harm physically by slapping, pushing, kicking, shoving. Verbal bullying would be that of name calling, insulting in front of your other peers, or threatening you. The third one would be social exclusion, which means that they spread rumors about you and overall just damage your social standing. And then, of course, cyberbullying, which is used really with social media, sending mean messages by text or putting threatening message on social media. And so that's a big one too. The effects of bullying are very detrimental. To name a few, they can bring on lower self-efficacy for assertion, higher self-efficacy for aggression, and lower self-efficacy for learning and performance. They can also increase psychological distress and decreased student engagement, making it difficult to make friends. They may experience loneliness and decrease in self-esteem. And the last one's long-term effects such as difficulty forming relationships, feelings of incompetency and unattractiveness, which would lead to less successful lives as adults. The psychological effects of bullying, physical harm. This is a behavior most seen in girls, which would be the cutting behavior where they mark themselves. It can bring on sleep disorders that can manifest into chronic pain, stomach aches, headaches, and somatization. For mental and emotional harm, that would include depression, anxiety, low self-esteem, poor self-efficacy, alcohol and drug use, aggression, and involvement in crime or violence. And continuing on with psychological effects, just one more statement. Emotional harm will last much longer than the physical harm. The body can eventually heal itself when physical harm is done. but the victim's self-image may be permanently damaged, which can result in the victim's inability to trust themselves as capable individuals. And most important, how can we effectively address bullying? And I think everyone can play a role in this, and everyone should play a role in this, especially teachers and mentors at school, but also parents. And the first one would be to just allow openness, make them feel comfortable, and let them know that it stays between you, kind of allow for that conversation to come up. We can intervene. I think a lot of teachers and mentors are really looking for the signs of physical harm, and just a lot of people feel like they would be able to notice if someone's getting bullied, but actually we need to really look further and be watching so we can intervene when those opportunities become available. And another one would just be to be an example and to stand up for yourself. Teach your children to stand up for themselves so they know how to handle it. And in order to effectively address bullying, we need to be able to understand the consequences of bullying. And if we can understand how it relates to other violent behaviors and mental health challenges, we can create programs that allow adolescents to understand what they're feeling, as well as how to deal with their feelings. I think it's important that they understand what's happening to them, and they can work through their emotions and understand why they're having those emotions, which would offer a great deal of hope. We need to stop it or counteract the effects before it has a chance to permanently damage their self-esteem and lower self-efficacy. So if we are to catch bullying after harm has been done, it's possible that we can help in the healing of this. Victims need to understand that they are not stuck in a helpless situation. That will never change. I think this is very important because a lot of students feel like that's just their life in school, and they are miserable and nothing can be done. This alone can offer huge relief to the mental stress they are going through. And for healing to happen, the victim will need help and support in building a stronger identity, as well as developing inner trust that will allow them to believe they can accomplish great things. As adults, we should be helping these adolescents find interests at which they excel, tasks that show them they can be successful, and activities they can enjoy. All of these can help build a self-image that is strong and resilient. Thank you.